This is a brand new scroll, which has just been discovered in the Cairo Museum of Egyptian Antiquities. What's written on it might be one of the most shocking things ever uncovered. This is something that should not exist according to our current understanding of history. But what does it say? And how is it possible that it survived for all this time? The discovery was made by Dr. Sahas, an archaeologist who was examining some old X-ray films stored in the museum's archive. She was shocked by what she saw. In the images were two mummies, but they were wrapped together in the same burial cloth. Something wasn't right. There was something strange going on here. The two mummies seemed to have been fused into one. An investigation was launched to get to the bottom of this. It soon became clear that these weren't two people, male and female, who had been buried together. It was actually one man and a woman who had been enshrouded together. So why were they buried like this? Well, the answer was found when scientists took a closer look at their faces. They noticed that the male mummy was wrapped around a female mummy with his arm around her shoulder and a kiss on her head. Scientists believe that the man was giving the woman one final kiss goodbye, but this was only the beginning of the mystery. Scientists then began to notice other weird things about the mummies. For example, the male mummy was much bigger than the female. He was also clutching a scroll in his hand. It was tightly sealed inside a wooden box, protected from the outside world. But there was something even weirder going on here. The scientists wanted to take a look inside the box, so they carefully opened it up. They removed the scroll and read what was written on it. But what they found was that the writing was backwards. All of it was written in hieratic script, and it was filled with powerful spells that would help guide the dead person through the underworld. But it wasn't just that the scroll was written backwards. It was also written in the wrong direction. Here's what we mean. Ancient Egyptian scribes would always write from right to left, but this scroll was written from left to right. It went against everything that they knew about ancient Egyptian culture. So why was the scroll written backwards and in the wrong direction? Why was it placed in a tomb in such a weird way? Some believe that the scroll was created as a mistake, that someone got turned around and wrote it the wrong way. But others don't think that this is true. They think that there is a deeper meaning behind it. So what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. However, the bizarre nature of the scroll might be explained by its age. See, we don't actually know how old it is, because it hasn't been dated yet. We know that the outermost coffin was created 1,600 years ago. This was the golden age of ancient Egypt, when the country was ruled by the great King Tut. It was also during the reign of Tut that the Valley of the Kings was created, where many pharaohs were buried. However, the inner coffins are much older. They were created 3,500 years ago, when Egypt was still a brand new civilization. They were created 200 years before the Great Pyramid of Giza was finished. If the coffins really are this old, it means that the scroll could be the oldest piece of evidence we have of writing in the ancient Egyptian language. That would make it thousands of years old. It would also mean that our entire understanding of ancient Egyptian history will have to change. It would prove that the civilization was started hundreds of years earlier than historians believed. If the scroll can be dated back to the beginning of Egyptian history, it would open up all sorts of new questions. We would have to ask, how did a civilization emerge out of nowhere and start writing thousands of years before the pharaohs? Where did the Egyptians come from? Who were they descended from? And if the scroll really is this old, there's another big problem. According to what we currently understand about ancient Egyptian history, nobody should have been buried like this. Men and women weren't allowed to be buried together. Also, nobody was allowed to be buried with their arms around someone else. All of this goes back to the ancient Egyptian Book of the Dead. This book contained instructions on how people should be buried after they died. It contained spells and rituals that were meant to guide the dead person through the underworld. One of the main beliefs of ancient Egyptians was that everyone would be judged after they died. Their heart would be weighed against the feather of truth. If their heart was heavier than the feather, they would be sent to hell and never see the light of day again. To avoid being sent to hell, the dead person needed to be free of any sins and mistakes. That's why the Book of the Dead told people not to be buried with anyone else, whether they were male or female. It didn't matter if you were related to the person or not. You were not supposed to be buried with anyone else. So why were these mummies buried together? What happened here? Was it a mistake? Did the priest forget the rules of the Book of the Dead? Or was there something more sinister going on here? Some have speculated that this mummy was created in secret, that the two people decided to be buried together despite the rules. Maybe they were lovers who didn't care what anyone thought of them. Or maybe they were husband and wife, and they wanted to be together for eternity. There's also another theory. Some believe that this is nothing more than a fake mummy, that it was created by grave robbers to lure tourists into their trap. Grave robbers often create fake tombs to fool treasure hunters. They hide fake mummies and artifacts in these tombs to waste the treasure hunters' time. What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. If you ask us, we think that this is a real mummy. After all, it wouldn't make sense for grave robbers to put a scroll in the tomb. They would want to take the scroll with them, so that they could sell it to a private collector. Also, the fact that the scroll was written backwards adds another layer of mystery. This isn't something that grave robbers would have done. So we believe that this is a genuine artifact. Now archaeologists are hoping to date the coffins and find out exactly how old they are. This will help reveal what really happened here. But regardless of what happens, the discovery of this mummy is incredible. It shows just how advanced the ancient Egyptians were. To think that they were able to create such an elaborate work of art thousands of years ago is truly amazing. Hopefully, as more time passes, we'll be able to unlock the secrets of this mummy and the scroll it was holding. But until then, it will remain one of the greatest mysteries of the ancient world. Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit the like button and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this.